welcome to the fabulous Sports Plus Complex as the Pro Bowlers Tour visits fantastic Long Island for the 7th consecutive year. We're here for the finals of the Bud Light Championship. Let's meet our outstanding field of 5. Here's Pete Weber from St. Anne, Missouri, one of the Triple Crown winners. His opening opponent is a former Tournament of Champions winner from Middleburg Heights, Ohio, a Buckeye, Dave DeEntremont. Our 3rd seed bowls out of Cincinnati is making his 4th TV appearance of the year, seeking his first career win. Strong, Brian Himmler. The semifinal match features a PBA Hall of Famer seeking his 17th career win and first since '95 from Venezuela. A wonderful guy, Amleto Monacelli. And our tournament leaders after his landmark 20th win and 2nd in a month from Las Vegas, Webb. Well, Bo, what a crowd and a lot of money at stake.
You're right, Chris, and if you like power, today is the day, and this is the place. First place, $37,000, and the word among the players is crank it to the bank. Here we go, first match.
25 million people visit Long Island every year. This is a capacity crowd in an arena-like setting at the most extraordinary sports entertainment complex in America. Here is Pete Weber. He'll shoot first. Impressive beginning for Pete Weber, and is adrenaline flowing. Now, huge Dave DeEntremont.
My goodness, Chris, with the big hook ball. Watch Dave. He doesn't get it quite as wide as he wants. He wants to get it almost out to the gutter. Cuts right through the middle, leaves the 3-4-7. Has to get the ball to the right of the 3-pin, slide it into the 4-7.
Valiant try. But for Big Dave, it's an open frame in our very first match. If you just joined us, the Bud Light Championship.
Even though Dave gets 7 out in the first frame, a little bit disturbing, but for the power that these players have, all 5 of them today, they're used to open frames. They play that high risk, high reward, big hook, and he can come back with a bunch of strikes.
2 tough breaks for the Brunswick Tournament of Champion winner in Lake Zurich, Illinois.
Well, this is similar to the shot he had last time. What he has to do is get the ball to the right of the 3-pin over in this area and drive that 3 into the 4-7. It's makeable. He's already had a test shot at it the first frame. Let's see what he does here in frame 2.
Congratulations from Pete Weber. It's the type of professionals these pro bowlers are.
Boy, you don't want to open with 2 open frames, and Dave DeEntremont makes that 3-4 combination the second. Peter has been terrific in match play this week. He won 17 of his 24 matches.
Boy, I'm sure that brought his dad, Dick, and his brother John up in Cape Girardeau off their benches or wherever they are.
As you see, 6 rounds. The first 3 rounds were qualifying, 18 games and 24 games of finals, rounds 4, 5, and 6. Peter was excellent.
Beckoning to the crowd to appreciate skill. Filled with it today.
Terrific reaction, much like his dad. His dad was a great clutch player, one of the great players, but he loved to get out to a quick start. Here, Peter does it perfectly with 3 in a row.
Third split in a row, converted on the last one. Can you believe it, Nelson?
Well, Dave DeEntremont plays the big hook, much like Weber, but he's trying to go down and in with the boards. There is no oil in the center of the lane to help your shot. So once again, you see DeEntremont with just a moderate hook, no help in the center, no hold around the pocket. another 3-4 combination. Let's see if he can make it.
Oh, yes. Spectacular action. 2 in a row. That keeps him a little closer to Pete Weber, only trailing by 38 right now.
Well, D'Entremont can throw strikes, and it's very good that he filled those splits. Let's see if he can get strike in a 4th.
Number 1 for D'Entremont. We got to remind you, and we're in Lake Grove, New York, where a year ago construction got underway for the Sports Plus Entertainment Center. And here's a peek inside just a portion of the complex today. Awesome. 1,200 or more inside this sports complex, and this is just part of it, ladies and gentlemen. It spreads and spreads and spreads. A little executive golf course and this building on 60 acres on Long Island.
Well, it just matches as advertised as Pete Weber starts with 3 in a row.
Pedro is really on today.
Well, Peter, with that huge hook, is either red hot or very cold. His low game in the tournament, listen to this, 149. Yesterday, he bowled a 299. His wife, Tracy, looks on. She likes the action so far. Peter, a 48-pin lead, perfect through 4.
Well, now the shoes on the other foot or on the other hand or something.
Well, the ball just slips off Peter's hand. You can tell by his reaction he didn't get the lift to get the fingers to rotate around the ball. Needs to shoot this like a regular washout. Get the ball to the left side of the head pin, drive the head into the 610. Chris, I'm sorry, he went for it in the pocket, and that's the lowest percentage way to go at. I sat there and studied this split and watch a lot of pros, and it's about 50% tougher shooting it this way. Now he's going for the pocket, trying to deflect the ball from the 1 into the 6. The 6 often misses a 10. It's better to shoot it on the left side. Peter makes a minor mistake. Let's see what happens.
Cutting the lead now to 21 pins with that double. Next Saturday at 3, 2 Central on ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour, it's the Florida Open, where $1 million goes to the man who bowls a perfect game in the title match. That's next Saturday at 3, 2 Central on ABC, of course.
1 million, partner?
Yes.
Tain't so bad. Right now, Dave D'Entremont can cut Weber's lead to 11.
An incredible display of skills here in our first match today.
Well, with the power and the amount of hook both these players are rolling, they're going to strike about 90% of the time. They get it anywhere around the 1-3 pocket, especially light, where D'Entremont was in the 6. Now let's see how Weber comes back. A lead that could have been almost 50 pins is now down to 11.
This coming after an Open. That gives you an idea of the size of the crowd and the vastness of this building.
170,000 square feet under roof.
Wow. What a playpen.
For people of all ages.
Yes. He's admonishing the pins. Oh, yes, Weber has come back with a double to lead by 21, and we will be back. And the crowd has every right to cheer, and we hope you were with us from the beginning of this very first game in the Bud Light Championship, because Pete Weber opened with 4 in a row. His opponent, Dave D'Entremont, had 3 splits in a row, converted 2 of them, and now has put 3 in a row. And if he can put another one up there, the lead will be only 11. Didn't trip that form, though.
Well, Chris, with the big hook ball, the percentage of the high hits is not very good. If they keep it light, as you've seen the earlier shots by D'Intermont, they were all light. You see the great wrist action, probably a 20-board hook, but no trip of the 4.
Continuing to mark, that's extremely important. The winner then moves ahead to meet Brian Himmler, the brilliant rookie from Cincinnati. Then the great champion Amleto Monacelli, and equally as great Wayne Webb. All right. Exciting. That was an 8th frame strike. Now Pete Weber has a double working, and here'd be a chance in the 8th and 9th.
Well, Peter, if he strikes out, can have somewhat of an awkward score, 263, and that would shut out D'Intermont. But the match is still up for grabs. D'Intermont a possible 231. Here we go, 8th frame. We welcome back to our telecast the president of the PBA, great champion, Johnny Petraglia.
Thank you, Chris. Brian, I noticed the first time you were on TV, you were a little tentative, and the last time you had a lot of confidence. Is it just a learning process under the lights, or is it ball reaction?
Everything on tour is a learning process, and I just hope to get my record above 500 today, win a few games, get loose, and have some fun out there.
Chris and Bo, Brian can strike with the best of them when he gets a reaction. Watch out for him today. Back to you.
Okay, thanks. He'll be up next. 10-pin on the left lane. Nearly toppled, but not a big enough hit.
Well, Chris, we see the bird dogs come around when the head pin knocks out the 10, but Peter, with that real soft speed, doesn't have enough pin speed. In other words, his pins are only moving over there about 30 miles an hour, and he needs a little more ball speed to make that head pin come back and take out the 10.
Pete Weber, who won his first regional tournament as an amateur at age 15.
Dave D'Intermont, the full approach. We have 17-foot approaches here. D'Intermont taking 17.5. He can stand the crowd if he likes. He needs a strike.
A 7-pin.
Wow, the center of the rack. David just blew the 5 right over the top of the 7. What a terrible break. You see, he's going to go straight across lane for the 7-pin spare. This is a fairly simple shot. He cuts his hook down.
All right. First game. D'Intermont and Weber.
D'Intermont a possible 211.
In our field today, there were 62 titles among the 5. You know, tonight is the beginning of one of the great lineups of this television season, starting with brand new episodes of Lois and Clark on a new night and time, then the premieres of 2 of the most eagerly awaited shows of the year, Leaving L.A. and Robert Altman's Gun On Tonight, here on ABC. So be here. And kiss your remote goodbye.
D'Intermont gives himself a very slim chance. You can see a little bit of a disconsolate look on his face as he has a negative move. 211 would be the best he can score. Pete Weber would just need 5 pins on the first ball. And we've seen some strange things happen. 4 or 5 is nothing for these guys. And now he just needs 4 pins.
All right. Kurt Von Kruger is being checked. He's a national tournament director. Pete Weber just checked him to make sure.
He'll throw it right down the middle, Chris. There's no point in trying to throw a big hook here and getting some weird shot. There we go, right down the middle. All right, Peter. You know what? Your dad would be proud of that. The 5-7-10, the bowler's calling a lily out here on the tour. First time I've ever seen it on the PBA Tour in a national championship. However, it's going to be enough to win. Now, you know what? This can be made. I've seen it made. You get the ball to in here, slide the 5-pin over the 7, bounce it off the kickboard, and take out the 10. He can take a chance and go for it. That's enough to win.
And anybody that says professional bowling isn't exciting, if you watch the first game here, you cannot truthfully say it. OK, Pete is the winner, 217 to 208. This ABC Sports presentation of Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC station. Well, there you see what happened in the very first match. It was a thriller. With 7 strikes, Pete Weber moves up, moves ahead, 217 to Dave D'Entremont's 208. Next, he will meet Brian Himmler. Speaking of fantastic arenas anywhere in America, and I've been in most of them, fortunately, over this long career. Nelson, this one is breathtaking.
Well, Chris, I bowled this week, had a chance to tour it all week long. $30 million complex, 1,200 parking spaces, 300 employees, ice skating rink, the whole thing. It's just fantastic. Let's take a look at it and see how it really sets up.
A place to house the ultimate entertainment experience went from dream to reality in October 1996, when today's host, Leisure Complexes, opened Sports Plus. Leading off with last week's winner, Tim Chris, you'll see how some of the bowlers made use of the many attractions to let off steam this week. Perhaps most amazing is the iWorks, a unique motion theater that really kept the bowlers rocking. After that, it's no surprise that Bob Learn and Jeff Lizzie needed to unwind by hitting the slopes. All right. And now it's Brian Himmler from Cincinnati going against the young man born in the St. Louis area, now living in St. Anne, Missouri, Pete Weber. Cincinnati, he's a 175-pounder, solid, 23 years old. Nelson, Babe.
The Chief. Looking sideways a little, we have stands all the way down the lanes, just a little something bothered him. And this is his 5th championship round appearance, so he has his feet underneath him. He knows what he's doing. Terrific strike ball. He was the first round leader, average 251.
So he leaves a 3-6-10. He won a game roll-off over Dave D'Entremont to get him the number 3 spot, while D'Entremont was 4th and met Weber 203 to 194.
Terrific style of Brian Himmler. He's got a big crank, and all the way down here, he's got to trust it out. Not quite as far as I drew that line. That'd be in the gutter, but that's what he needs. It'll almost come back every time.
So very smooth. Brian Himmler. Now he moves to the left side.
That match you spoke about, Chris, was in round 6. They tied after 42 games for 3rd and 4th, and in actually overtime, a 43rd game for both D'Entremont and Himmler. Himmler bested him in that game, and so now he's in the number 3 position. As you looked at the widespread grip, look how far he spreads that index finger. Tremendous wrist action and just tons of swing.
Flirting with the channel.
He's so lighthearted. He turned to the crowd over there and said, how did that happen? He is used to getting open frames. I'll tell you, when you have power like that, and what he needs to do is get that ball over here in the 2-4 zone and drive the 2-pin into the 10. He leaves this quite a bit, but it's still a pretty tough shot, especially as much as he hooks it.
Pete Weber's only win this year was in Tucson, and Brian Himmler was 2nd in that tournament.
Chris, and this is the split he left in the 9th frame against Weber to donate the title. So he leaves it in the 2nd and opens again.
All right. Weber weighing in at 135 pounds, 34 years old. He has won 29 regional titles, 22 national titles. And here's another Triple Crown winner, Johnny Petraglia.
Thank you, Chris. Big D, it's great to see you back on the telecast again. Tell me about the beginning of that game.
Thanks, Johnny. Yeah, it's been 50 weeks since my last show, so first couple shots I was a little pumped up and overhit him a little bit and had a little adventures in spare shooting, but it just felt good to have a good week. I'm looking forward to the rest of the winter now.
He's a great bowler, Chris. He'll be back. Bo?
All right. Thanks, John. Pete Weber starts with 2 in a row. Could make it 3.
Pete Weber did the twist at the line, hoping that he'd get a break on the 10-pin. Watch.
Oh, Peter slips on the approach and probably disturbed from the side, leaves the 10-pin and misses it. And, you know, Chris, we've seen this happen in his younger days. Watch him sink on the approach and see how it affects him. Remember how he used to just fall apart? Let's see if it happens again today. He's given Himmler a terrific break.
Well, there's a 7-pin that's a big disappointment for Brian.
Well, that's the kind of shot the average player would never leave. We saw D'Intermont leave the same shot on the same lane. They hit light, and they just rip the 5-pin out instead of going directly into the 7. It either goes in behind it or over the top of it. And I guess these guys get the weirdest strikes. So it's a high-risk, high-reward type game.
We're in our second match of the Bud Light Championship.
Brian Himmler, one of the top amateur, what we call match game player or high roller players around the country. He used to bowl for terrific money, quote, as a quasi-amateur, but now has opted to fulfill his dream and be a pro, and he is really doing well. $42,000 last year. He's up to $30,000 already this year and adding.
Powerful strike. Okay, as we go to break, let's take a look down memory lane. The focus of our trip down memory lane this week is the colorful career of Ernie Schlegel, replete with some splendid outfits through the years. Ernie has earned over $800,000 in his career and has 6 titles, including this one in 1984, right down the road in Garden City. Yes, it is the Bud Light Championship. Light Grove, Long Island, New York. Pete Weber turned to the crowd while we were away and said, "Don't worry about it. It's over."
That's after missing the 10-pin in the 3rd frame. He still leads by 12.
High hit.
Oh, Chris, it's over can be taken 2 ways. You know it, pal. Right now, Peter goes right through the middle, and we've seen this unusual split. Obviously, for the big hook ball players, it's very commonplace, but the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10, we saw D'Intermont convert it. Pete watched him convert it. He knows what to do.
Okay, John Petraglia now with a couple of neat people.
Higher year, but this is your first telecast, Amleto. Is this the missing ingredient right here?
I definitely think so. I've been a little homesick, and definitely with the families out here watching me bowl, and makes a big difference.
The family's here this week, Chris and Bo. Watch out for Amleto today.
Amleto Emmanuel. And he will be meeting the winner of this game. And Weber coming back after an open with a strike in the 5th frame.
Match is even. Brian Himmler using 2 different balls. He's using this blue ball on the right-hand lane, and in the 4th frame, he used a black ball on the left-hand lane. This one hooks a little bit later. Let's see if he likes it on this one.
Match play. Brian led the 1st round and the 4th round. Weber led the 2nd round.
Now, Chris, let's see if he picks up the black ball or continues to go with the blue ball. I'll tell you what, you never know what's going through a young power player's mind. Remember, he struck in the 4th frame with the black one. He's going with the black one. Now, the black one, the only difference is the black one starts hooking a little bit earlier towards the pocket. A different weight configuration inside the ball will make it start to the pocket a little earlier.
And now he leads by 20. I might add, this week in the Bud Light Championship, one Nelson Boburton earned $2,033, finishing 38th.
38th. Had some fun.
You're moving up.
Got the ball on this championship pair, and this is a nice, solid, smooth pair for Peter. He has to get his act back together. He trails by 20.
Now by only 10. Another strike will make it all even again as we look at the average leaders. Pete at the top.
There's a little asterisk next to him. It says not including today, but it also should say one other thing. Peter had to withdraw from the PBA National Championship after 3 games with a rib cage injury, and it was a very low-scoring tournament. It's given him a slight edge, I think, in the averages, although this, not counting that tournament, would have been his 5th consecutive TV show.
All even. Springtime means more traffic heading toward beautiful Long Island, even on the waterways, as a ferry boat pulls into nearby beautiful Port Jefferson Harbor. There's a busy fellow, Carl Pfizer. He's the tournament chairperson, puts his heart and soul into this event every year. He deserves their applause. Carl Pfizer.
Chris, I saw Carl from the time I walked in the door Monday morning till this morning. I don't think he ever left the place. All right, match all even, 2nd game.
Leaving a 6-10 on the right lane. The championship pair, lanes 39 and 40 here at this complex.
By his own volition, the Chief says it's a big mistake, 1-frame mistakes that's been costing him so dearly in the championship round, and right now he trails by 2 pins. You know, Chris, when you're bowling an opponent and in Pete Weber's seat, and you know a guy makes big mistakes like Himmler does, and he's only averaged 200 in his 7 games in a championship round, it pumps up your opponents. Peter's pumped up now, and Himmler kind of has inspired his opponents. They've averaged 231 against him, so it behooves Himmler to start throwing some strikes, put some pressure on Peter, and maybe you know, give him one in the face a little bit here. This is match play action for big bucks.
This is really bringing about a lot of splits.
Well, we see a split that's rather uncommon becoming obviously the norm right here today. 3, 4, 6, 7. Once again, get the ball to the right of the 3-pin, drive the 3 over into the 4-7 zone. Himmler has got to get aggressive. Get the ball over here, make this split. You cannot be Mr. Nice Guy in the championship round. I know all these players very well. There's gentlemen off the lanes, but this is your living attack out there, Brian. Give it a good whack at this split and make Peter work for his money.
All out. 146 through the 8th frame for Brian Himmler.
Pete Weber, sitting on the bench there, has got to be totally juiced. He makes a major mistake in the 3rd and 4th frames. Now he comes up in the 8th to put Himmler on the ropes. Peter will throw his Sunday ball right here. Don't wait till the 10th.
High hit. 3-6-10. This is a persistent professional.
You see Peter, and the one problem he's had in recent years is speed control. He always trusts the ball, gives it a lot of room, but when he slows it down to like 15, 16 miles an hour, it often wanders high. Exactly what happened in that frame. You have to not only hit your target, but maintain the speed and lift.
All right.
Second match, the first match won by Weber, 217 over Dave Durant's 208. Next on ABC's Wide World Sports, you'll see the Valvoline Professional Boxing Series. That's right, featuring an IBF junior middleweight title bout from Las Vegas between Raul Marquez and Anthony Stevens. Then it's the Wood Memorial presented by Visa. And on Wide World Classic, we'll flashback. Flashback to Cassius Clay versus Sonny Liston. Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
All right, as Brian Himmler, who has made a number of big mistakes in this match, still has a chance. He has a potential 206 if he can strike out here. Ninth frame, Weber going at a 202 pace.
Wood Memorial is part of Wide World today. What a wonderful prep for the Kentucky Derby, also on ABC, the first Saturday in May.
For Brian Himmler, second match of the day, he can make Weber strike in the 10th if he can throw 2 strikes here. He right now trails by 16, can cut Weber's lead to 6, 10th frame, second match.
We're going to hear a lot from Brian Himmler in the future, which Bo predicted a long time ago.
I agree, Chris. He's got the guts. He just got to get his confidence. And it's so much confidence on a Pro Bowlers Tour with all the talent out here. Now, what Brian has to do is stay aggressive. He got here being aggressive. He's got a tremendous strike ball. Use the best asset you have. He's taking his time. That's a good sign. That's another thing. He used to rush. Let's see if he can take the lead. Second shot in the 10th. What he needs to do is make sure he gets one of these pins to force Weber to mark. He's looking at the scoreboard. His nemesis has been the 210 combination. That's what he lost to Weber in Tucson earlier on ESPN. That same shot. Weber will need a mark.
That's the second match of the day. Weber winning the first. 217 to 208 over Dave D'Entremont. Now here in the second has the upper hand against Brian Himmler. Amleto Monacelli is next. And then the tournament leader, Wayne Webb.
Pete Weber, strike or spare. He goes on to meet Monacelli. And open, he loses.
You know, if he had been a boxer at 135 pounds of lightweight, he would have been incredible. I've never seen such a tenacious, persistent champion.
Well, you're right, Chris, and this is his best shot of the match. I'll tell you what. Oh, no! He just threw a safety there, and he got a lucky break. But that ball he threw against Himmler for the mark was by far his best shot. And that's something that you cannot be taught when you got guts like that.
You know, this week on the tip of the week, Bo talks to high-back swinger Dave D'Entremont, whom you saw earlier.
Big Dave D'Entremont, PBA titleist and the winner of the prestigious Tournament of Champions. Dave, you have the high backswing, much like Amleto Monacelli, Pete Weber. What are the advantages of a tremendously high backswing like that?
Well, Bo, for me, the advantages are getting maximum power and leverage with the least amount of effort possible.
All right, let's take a look at one of your shots and tell me what you're thinking about.
According to accommodate the high backswing, you have to open up your shoulders. The problem I see most young contemporary players is they don't get their shoulders square back to their target line at the foul line. When that happens, you use the left arm as a counterbalance to pull those shoulders square.
All right, great tip from a great player, Dave Dientermont. If you feature the high backswing, make sure that left shoulder pulls the right shoulder back in line with your target so you can be accurate and maximize your power.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, with 8 strikes this time, Pete Weber gets the measure of Brian Himmler, 221 to 193, and in steps Venezuela's pride and joy, Amleto Monacelli. Well, the commission's here with a couple of guests, Bo.
Right, you got Bob Bukowski on his left, and Lee Burke, one of the avid bowling fans who was with the marquee group, the sports marketing group of the PBA Tour, doing a terrific job and enjoying the Bud Light as we come up to the semifinal match. This should be a good one, Chris.
Bob Bukowski, what a brilliant guy in sports.
We had a 120-man field here, and some of the other top players that made the championship round. You see their profiles in the background. Brian Goebel, 300 this week. Ryan Schaefer looking good. U.S. Open champion. Ballard. What a great field we have here this week. Kelly Kaufman, the big power guy. Anthony Lombardo, he led the Rabbit squad. That's the qualifying squad and the regular tournaments. First time I've seen that happen in a long time. Jimmy Davis, look for him to start hitting them big out here. Don Moser. Norm Titus, I mentioned his name last week, getting better every week. Curtis Odom, I crossed with him this week. And Lonnie Wallachek, a young college player, fulfilling his dream on the tour, looked very sharp.
Upcoming stops, the Florida Open, Tampa, Florida, where in the championship game, a perfect 300 game, is $1 million. 2 weeks from today, the Greater Sebring Open, Sebring, Florida, 3 Eastern. And those are the next 2 as we near the halfway point of the Professional Bowlers Tour here in 1997. We're now to the semifinal game here at Sports Plus, and it's Amleto Monacelli and it's Pete Weber throwing their practice balls here, getting ready for a pivotal match. The winner to meet Wayne Webb in the championship match, where the winner will get $37,000.
Chris, I think that Pete Weber is snuffed by 2 opponents that have really defeated themselves. Pete Weber has recovered from some poor frames, but I don't think he has that luxury against Monacelli. This is the most experienced player he's played, and I think the toughest opponent, both physically and mentally, among the first 3 players.
Has to be a psychological boost every time you open with a strike, Bo.
Well, I agree with that. And Weber, Weber history, his dad was the same way. They opened the match with 3 or 4 trying to put it on the opponent. But I'll tell you what, Amleto Monacelli, I think, probably has the strongest mental game I've seen on tour since Don Johnson.
Look at that 5-pin spin.
We call that the paralyzer shot. The ball absolutely hit the 5-pin, but the head pin came off the sideboard so quickly, it caught it at a very unique time. Watch this. Now watch the action of the head pin. Here comes the ball. It's going to hit the 5. Head pin goes to sideboard, comes back, and taps the back of the 5-pin to stand it up and spin it. The old paralyzer. Bad break for Amleto to get going with.
Smoothness and great technique. Amleto Monacelli marks with a spare in the first frame of the match leading to the final game.
Amleto, Bolden Erie, and then after the telecast last week, Chris, he drove down through beautiful upstate New York with me to do a charity exhibition. As you look at Teresa, who flew in from South America into Newark. He did a charity exhibition for me with the Hospice Society last Sunday, so he had an extra day's practice. I think that's the reason he bowled so well this week.
So an 8-pin, single-pin spare for Amleto as we are on beautiful Long Island, 20 miles at its whitest point, 118 miles east-northeast from the mouth of the Hudson River or Manhattan. 1,400 square miles of playground. Looking at the right hand immediately, though.
Well, Chris, he's just not getting a good solid lift. He's losing it off his hand. We saw him lose it, and it slid by the head pin in the previous game against Himmler, and here he kind of jumps at it and leaves the 3, 6, 9, 10. I remember in Long Island down at the old Garden City Bowl where we used to bowl, Pete actually had one slip off his hand and throw it backwards on TV, so he has some hand trouble.
All right, once again, our Triple Crown winner, president of the PBA, Johnny Petraglio.
Thank you, Chris. Brian, I thought you performed real well today, but 1 ball light, 1 ball high, you paid the max for both of them. A bit unlucky?
A little bit. I felt I threw the ball in the second and the 10th to force Pete to strike. I thought that was going to get back. I was really shocked. Maybe I threw it a little hard. Me and Pete are good friends. I'm sure we'll bowl each other many times this year. We're having good years. Hopefully he'll storm on to the title.
He's a really good young player, Chris. I'm sure he'll be back.
10 pin on the left lane.
And Himmler had a very good point, as you see Pete Weber leaving a first really tap of the day, a solid 10. Is this left-hand lane is hanging a pinch. We saw a couple of 2-10 combinations, and we saw Amleto go light and leave almost the 2-8 in his first frame on that lane. So that may be a big change in the match. Who can hit the left-hand lane?
And now here's a man who was a PBA Player of the Year back-to-back years in '89 and '90, Amleto Monacelli.
Well, we're seeing something that I didn't see most of the week in the championship round today. As you see the 2-4-5, Amleto, a very omni-dimensional player, will throw a straight shot right at the 2, 4, and 5. But what I'm seeing on my strike ball is a little hang spot way down the lane, and I didn't see that most of the week.
Marking with 3 spares, Amleto Monacelli.
Good technique made that spare. Amleto pulled the ball left of his target, but he killed the shot through what we call a little top spinner. Marshall Holman used to have that shot for spares, and he just skinnied the spare and knocking the 2-5 into the 4. Now Amleto is going to play from the extreme left side of the approach. His target is going to be right in this 3rd arrow zone, out to all the way out to the edge. Amleto gets a good read on that shot. He threw that ball very well. He expected that to come back up for a strike. He gets an easy spare to shoot at, and he will make an adjustment when he comes up there in the 6th, 8th, and 10th frames, and I'm sure this match will close down to the 10th frame. So that could be a key shot. He must make the adjustments. That's the key to being a great pro anyway.
Mr. Smoothie, Amleto Monacelli. We will be back. Okay, Sports Plus, Complex. The Kalachis, important names here. Arthur Kalachi, the chairman, is in Florida recuperating from knee surgery. A great athlete. We miss him. But he's watching along with you, Pete Weber. Spare up. 3, 6, 9, 10.
Well, you have 2 players. Amleto cannot hit the left-hand lane. He's hanging. Pete Weber can't hit the right-hand lane. He's jumping high. So Peter's got to move him in and make an adjustment, and also he's got a very difficult spare, which he's already converted once. The 3, 6, 9, 10. Peter made that in the 2nd frame on this lane.
Very tippy-toe as we look at Tracy, his wife, who helps coach him, helps give him advice.
Tracy, an excellent bowler, used to bowl in the Ladies Masters League in the St. Louis area. So, advice well taken. Say, Peter, you can hit this lane. Let's make an adjustment on the right-hand lane. 39 and 40 in this complex. Sports Plus.
soonest of margins. Strikes on the left lane.
Well, Peter threw this ball so slow. It's much like Tim Chris in his turtle ball last week. He just threw it so slow. He finally gets a good flip. The 6 takes out the 10, and the match is even through 5. Look at that look on Monacelli's face. That's all business.
Big strike by Monacelli. Here's a big guy, our friend John Petraglia.
Thank you, Chris. Wayne, 19 titles, but you're 6-9 from the leader position. Is this a mental thing? I want to know for future reference, Wayne.
I think the title match is difficult. You come out, you bowl one game. They've had a few games on them before you, and the lanes change a lot. But I think now it's my turn to even up the score a little bit and make it 7-9.
Bo, I think whoever wins this next game, we're going to have to bowl a good one to beat Wayne for the title today.
I agree with you, John, and he is 0-4 in his last 4 times he's led the tournament.
Big double taking a 10-pin lead. Webber has a strike up. Tomorrow night on ABC starts with an hour of America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by a special edition of 2020 with Barbara Walters and Hugh Downs. Then the world premiere of Mother Knows Best, starring Joanna Kearns, Grant Show, and Christine Elise, all tomorrow night on ABC. Joanna Kearns, sister of Donna De Verona, one of my colleagues. Pin on the left lane.
Solid 10 for Peters. 6 just wraps around the base of the 10-pin. Well, that's the kind of match you expect of these two players. 2-time Player of the Year, Amleto, Monacelli, and ironically enough, Pete Weber, who could take all for the all-time leading money winner in pro bowling today, has never been a Player of the Year.
Hard to believe, but we will be back. Long Island after this. While we were away, Amleto Monacelli had a crossover strike in the 7th, taking 11-pin lead. Then in the 8th, another strike. Now leads by 21. Weber up with a spare working to the 8th frame.
Come on, Pete!
Sunday ball.
That was, Chris. He caught it just on the upstroke, and he got a solid 10 there in the 7th. What a terrific break Monacelli got in the 7th. He got a jersey squasher on his right-hand lane, then a can opener in the 8th frame as he hit real light and just split him. So right now, Peter trails by 21. Monacelli cogitates. Weber determination to stay right in this match. Third time we've seen that shot today. I guess with the power these players use, it's not unusual for them. But I'll tell you what, for a player of my type of skill or just a down and in player, you would never leave that on a light hit. The 5 would normally go right towards the 7. Peter just blew it right over the top. Tough break.
Just gets the 7.
Now the man that they call El Hombre out here on the tour, the vernacular name, the nickname for Amleto, 1 strike here, and he can shut out Weber, or 2 marks. Double reaction there. Amleto, who doesn't show his emotion very often, he runs it out, and Pete Weber shakes his head the other way. There's Amleto's best shot of the match. Breaks his wristband on his watch. Of course, he can buy a new one at one of his shops.
Tomorrow at 4 Eastern, 3 Central and Pacific, 6-time winner Alan Serjunal battles defending champion Jimmy Vasser at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach.
That Grand Prix is tomorrow, 4 Eastern, 3 Central and Pacific. And that's Monacelli at his best. And Teresa, his wife.
Pete Weber, you bowled very well today. You're going to have to settle for a third-place check. It's going to be Amleto Monacelli against the hottest bowler on tour, Wayne Webb, for the money.
And leaving an 8-pin. We'll have the final score for you in a moment, but this ABC Sports presentation of PBT will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC station. Exciting 3 matches here thus far. Weber winning the first over DeEntremont 217 to 208, 7 strikes. Then he moved ahead and with 8 strikes was the winner over Himmler 221 to 193. Then in steps the Venezuelan. And with 6 strikes, he bowled a big 244 and to 213 for Weber, but each bowler, Nelson, had 6 strikes.
Well, Chris, as we go into championship match, you got to look at what Wayne Webb's done so far this year. Plus to this field, he actually just crushed Amleto like a California grape during the tournament. He averaged 260 against him, beat him both times. And so I think you have to favor Wayne Webb going to championship match, but I know Amleto. He's a determined young man.
There we're looking on the left, Mark Kalachi, who's vice president of Leisure Group, and Bill Parks on the right of the screen. 2 tremendous executives, and we congratulate them for what they have done here on Long Island.
And the King of the Hill tournament will return to the ABC, presented by Showboat. It'll be the winner of the Johnny Petraglia tournament and the IOF Foresters tournament in Toronto, Canada. Return of the King of the Hill the last 4 weeks of ABC's tour. And as we enter this championship match, Amleto Monacelli against Wayne Webb.
Amleto shooting first.
Chris, one stat. The championship, the leader, has been 1-4 on ABC this year. But if the leader finishes the match first, he wins 75% of the time. So that would be Wayne Webb. He'll finish this match first.
A 2-5 on the left lane for Amleto.
And I'll tell you why I think that is. When a leader starts and lets the other player throw a shot, you get a time to think, then you bowl 2 frames in a row, plus you get to finish first and put the pressure on the other player. We've had a very demanding PBA lane maintenance program out here in a very tough lane conditions, so the guy who finishes first can really make the player in the 10th squeeze.
Now, for the first time today, but you saw him win at Peoria,
Wayne Webb.
He has never bowled better in his career than he is right now.
Like that.
And while I have a moment here, Chris, I'd like to send condolences out to your wife, Fran, for the loss of her brother, Leo Buddy Delfino, who passed away earlier today, and the grandmother of Brian Zwolinski, who passed away this week. My condolences to both of your families from all of us at the PBA and ABC.
Thank you.
Wayne Webb not only missed an arrow, he just about missed the building that time. Watch this shot. He's trying to get it out to about the 5th board, and it never saw it past the 15th board as he crosses all the way over and leaves the 5-9. Danger of chopping this off. Actually, the best way to do it, Wayne is taking the best way, moving the extreme left side, throw a little cut shot in there.
Well, we haven't seen many 5.9s, but we've seen chops all the time.
Well, Chris, he moved to the left side, but he should have thrown a cut shot in there, basically a little backup ball. He tried to throw a hook in there. He gets caught in the trap of the center of the lane, and the center of the lanes are so unpredictable on the PBA Tour because you don't get any hold, and yet you never know if it's going to jump. So a great opening for Monacelli in the final match.
He comes up with a 6-9-10.
It's obvious to anybody who bowls or studies this game that the PBA lane maintenance personnel are giving no help to the players in the center of the lane. Right here, we used to have a lot of oil buildup in this area. Right now, you don't have that, and a player needs to get over here on the left, start over here, and play around this area and make good, solid shots.
Okay, Johnny Petraglia on camera.
Thank you, Chris. Peter, you really bowled great today, especially the shots for the wheat. I know you're a little disappointed in not winning, but really, how do you think your performance was?
I think my performance today was fantastic. I mean, I threw the ball good when I needed it. I know I got slow a few shots, and then there in the 9th frame against Amleto, I got the bad tap. So, I mean, my opponent's got him, so what goes around comes around. There will be another day.
He's back, Chris. The race to 2 million is going to be a good one.
Trails Walter Ray by only 13,000 now. Gets 14,000 here today.
Comes the backdoor shot. Head pin to the sideboard, trips out the 8 and the 2.
For a pin on the right lane for Wayne Webb.
Chris, I don't like the way he's bowling this championship here. I watched him all week long. He led this tournament playing an outside shot, swinging it outside. Now he's trying to play the center of the lane, and he's getting no ball reaction at all.
Led the 5th and 6th rounds of match play. In the final game last night, he bowled a 256 with 7 consecutive strikes, but today's another day.
Well, Chris, you got to play the lanes properly. No matter what sport it is, you got to shoot the ball towards the hoop. You got to hit the ball in fair play to knock a home run. And right now, he's playing the lanes improperly. That's better.
It was more better, huh? Okay. While we were away, Amleto Monacelli came up with a big strike in the 4th. Then in the 5th, left the 1-2-4-10 and has just converted it.
As you've seen, Webb on the approach trails by 14, can cut it to 4, and I think he's got the right shot now, the big hook. Chris, I have to put his arm swing among the best I've ever seen in 30 years on the tour. I almost call him a golden arm. It's always in line with the target, shoulder in line with the target. The only trouble Wayne ever has is he just loses his confidence.
Wayne, a remarkable young man who grew up in Rehoboth, Massachusetts, and has had many, many homes throughout the United States. Right now, Las Vegas is home, but he's happy anywhere. Strike in the 6th frame for Webb.
Wayne Webb with a great arm swing. He's built a lot like the late great bowler of the first half century, Hank Marino. For the older fans out there, will remember one of the greatest of all times. Now, Monacelli 6th frame leads by 14, spare up, converted the washout in the 5th.
Four, 6, 7.
I can't recall a championship round where a player, every time makes a mistake, pays a major penalty. I mean, I haven't seen anybody break up anything today. You make a mistake, you got an open frame. And right now we have a dead even match, $37,000. We've been here for 5 days, and there's only 4 frames left to determine the new Bud Light champion. Amleto won this title in 1994.
Back with the power ball. Monacelli. Now Webb with a strike working, shooting in the 7th frame. Webb taking a 10-pin lead, getting late in the championship game.
The greatest asset a bowler can have in his fundamental game is an arm swing in line with the target. This young man does it as well as anyone.
A 2-pin.
Well, he hooked that one a little bit. Lost leverage as he bent his elbow at the point of release. Watch the point of release. Here's a good shot. He's got his arm swing in good position. Now keep that elbow underneath the ball. It would have finished. When you weaken it like that, it'll always finish light.
Wayne today bowling a little more quickly than he usually does. And he's up for a flash. Can't wait. Wide World next.
Monacelli can take the lead in the 8th. Strike up, trails by 9.
That one must weigh 6 pounds, 2 ounces.
Well, Chris, in reality, it weighs 3 pounds, 7 ounces.
That's
he
right.
sends a scout out there, and he's familiar with the scout as he drove down Highway 17. The Indians were protesting, but right now, he trails by 9 pins with 2 frames left.
That's right. 13 Indian tribes once roamed Long Island. There is Teresa from Barranquilla, Venezuela.
As I was driving down here with Amleto, he says, what are these Indians protesting? And I says, taxes. Well, he says, it's tax season, and Amleto lives in Venezuela, makes a living in the United States, won his first title in Japan, but he pays taxes in the good old USA.
Thank you, Amleto. Hello, corners.
Come on, Amleto, kick the rack or something, pal. Those 2 shots were superb, and you got nothing to show for it but an easy spare, and you trail in the match by 10 pins. 9th frame.
Oh, you pros aren't paid enough. This is the toughest game in the world.
I don't disagree at all, partner.
Amleto Monacelli.
Well, the green machine, Wayne Webb, self-proclaimed because he just likes to make money, can shut out Wayne Webb if he strikes here in the 9th and the 10th.
Hold the phone.
What an interesting sport. I have to say this sport is tantamount or similar to a baseball pitcher where one day he has it, he looks unbeatable. Wayne Webb looked unbeatable yesterday. He's throwing the ball all over the building today. And right now, if he does not make this spare, he will be trailing in the championship match going into the 10th frame.
So that's an open in the foundation 9th frame for the tournament leader, Wayne Webb.
Amleto Monacelli, El Hombre, they call him out here, is going at a 187 pace. Wayne Webb, 181. A double in the 10th would force Monacelli to double. It's coming down to the last ball.
Throw away the remote.
Amleto would not look up, but boy, when he heard the crowd go, oh, that tells you a story that it wasn't too good. He knows that all he needs now is a mark if Wayne Webb makes his spare.
Winner today gets 37,000. The runner-up 19.
Well, Chris, if Amleto gets a mark, he can say, I love you, man. But I don't know how you say it in Spanish, but I sure know how to say it in English. He needs a mark. We've seen already one major tournament lost this year with an open in the 10th. Here's the situation for Amleto Monacelli. He needs to make this spare and get 8 pins to win. Has to make it. Absolutely has to make this. Wayne Webb wins.
Wayne Webb earned 39,000 plus coming in here. Amleto 31.
Oh my goodness, 181 for Webb.
We will be back as Webb wins.